I now own these Holy Grail records. Yeah, you're gonna want to stick around to see what gems I've added into the collection recently. Guys and gals, it's Hannah the Omaha Introvert. I want to welcome you on into my record room. Whether you're new to my channel or you're not so new, just thank you so much for supporting me and watching my channel. I realize I have been MIA for over a month, well over a month. I am very much aware. I apologize for the silence and the lack of content. I don't do YouTube as a full-time job. I do this for fun and whenever I have the time. But I'm really excited for this video because what I'm about to show you are virtually all Holy Grails that have been on my want list for quite some time, and I've been lucky enough to recently purchase them. Most of these I've bought online, mostly through eBay or Discogs, few locally, or I have a favorite online vendor as well. So to recap, I've been gone a while, I'm back. No record shows lately, so I'm buying stuff I really want online and locally. You came here to see the Grails, so let's just begin. These are in no order of preference. I'm just going to be all random here. Many of these are originals, some are reissues. I'm going to do my best to let you know. So let's start with The Cure. This is the comp originally released in 1980 called Boys Don't Cry. I found this 1986 UK reissue down in Bellevue at a shop called 402 Vinyl. This has been on my vinyl want list for a while. I think this issue sounds fantastic, although I don't have an original to compare it to. Three Imaginary Boys is the debut, and I'd say if you own both of these on one format or another, then you're covered for this era. I love Fire in Cairo. That's like one of my favorite songs. Some people prefer Boys Don't Cry to Three Imaginary Boys, but I love them both. But this is The Cure in a rawer form. So Boys Don't Cry, Fiction Records. Yeah, pretty cool. This one is super exciting. So I scored an original UK press of Lush's Spooky. This is their first full-length album. I also have an original press of Gala. This is one of the better bands of the shoegaze and dream pop era, in my opinion. This is gorgeous and hypnotic, beautiful album, produced by Robin Guthrie of the Cocteau Twins. And you'll see me showing some Cocteau Twins gems later on in this video. There's actually some criticism about the production of this record. No complaints here. I've always loved the ethereal vocals from Lush, and I wouldn't make any changes to this album. I love the opening track. Stray, Nothing Natural, Laura, Super Blast. It's just phenomenal to own an excellent copy of this, and I got it for like $30 cheaper than what it's going for on Discogs. So major score there, and it's on 4AD, of course. I don't really have to talk much about this one in depth. This is the Shins Oh Inverted World, and yeah, I just didn't have this on vinyl, but this is a 2005 reissue. I got this used at Drastic Plastic, which strangely is now permanently closed after they just reopened it a few years ago. I'm not sure exactly what happened or why they shut down once again. Very strange, and there really weren't any details given. Perhaps something shady was going on. I'm not sure. If anybody knows, let me know. But it's really a bummer because I really loved visiting Drastic Plastic. Like, even since they moved into that bar type setting, I just feel like their vinyl prices were very fair. And they had just started selling used records as well. And I got this for $12 used there. It's in perfect shape. This is probably one of the first indie records I fell in love with. And it came out like at the perfect time for me. It was my first year of college. And it just blew my mind. So I have great memories with this record. And The Past and Pending is one of my favorite tunes of all time, hands down. So it's a well-known record. I'm not going to say much else about it. So another one I picked up at Drastic Plastic before they mysteriously closed is Greatest Hits from the Cramps, and this is a 2018 Drastic Plastic reissue. I shared this on my Instagram page probably a month or two ago. I already own early copies or early presses of their first two albums and then a reissue of Smell of Female, but I really needed this into the collection, and this is their very first release. Only 5 tunes. It's super raw and garagey, and I think the only song that was like an original of theirs is The first one, Human Fly. Yep, and this was recorded at Ardent Studios in Memphis by Alex Chilton. So I would give it a listen if you haven't heard this and you're already a Cramps fan. This one is huge for me. If you watched my 90s video, my favorite albums of the 90s, I think I picked 10 for that one. This was a top 10 album of the 90s for me. And this is their first record, and it's an original UK press. This is very hard to find, very hard to get. This is a very dark and brooding slowcore album. So other bands in that realm from the 90s were like Low, Red House Painters, Codeine, if that kind of gives you like a reference. But there's some heavy guitars on this, and I just love their 90s era so much, and I've talked about them plenty before, but that's all I'm really gonna say. Heavy Grail here. I should have everything I own by Idaho logged into my Discogs page if you're curious to see what I have. Okay, next is an exciting new reissue, The Toms. So if you are a major power pop fan, you should already know about this record, The Toms from 1979. So it's been recently reissued in this gorgeous 2LP black vinyl set. Another option was a 7-inch with this, but that one sold out. However, this package is still available. It is limited to 400 copies, so if you're interested, you gotta get it now. And I'm gonna leave the link to the Bandcamp page down below. But this is very Beatles-inspired power pop. If you like Shoes in 2020, I mean, you're gonna like this. This is basically a one-man project. Thomas Marolda, I don't know if I said that right, but he played all the instruments on here, which is quite impressive. It's full of hooks, it's catchy, it's a classic power pop perfection here. Like I said, I don't think it's been reissued in like 12 years, so if you want it, I will leave the link down below. And like the liner notes in here are by John Borak, and he's the author of Shake Some Action 2.0, which I have that book. That's just a fascinating book. It's where I got a lot of my power pop recommendations. So John Borak really helped me get into some more power pop, but check out this album. Okay, here we go. Here's one I only owned on CD before. This, I think, is a 1985 UK reissue. I'm not 100% certain. I paid $24 US for this. The vinyl isn't in quite the shape I'd like it to be, unfortunately, but it's pretty awesome to own it. This is a must-have by the Smiths, and it's Hatful of Hollow. If I did not say that, I will just take it out of the sleeve here. It's a gatefold, has a little sticker on front there. Even though this is a compilation, it's like a top-notch compilation. It's even better than some of their studio albums. It has several singles and cuts from the BBC sessions. It's just a terrific sounding comp, and many people feel that the John Peel versions are better than the original album cuts, and I actually have to agree. Smith's Hatful of Hollow, many of you already own that or know about it. Here's another reissue just from this year. So this is the debut from Tubeway Army. Really exciting to have this. I got the black vinyl version because, if I'm gonna be honest, I usually have surface noise and sound issues with colored vinyl. I know some people say that's BS, but I experience it frequently, so I go for the black vinyl version when I can. Anyway, I've never seen an original copy of this ever, or not that I can recall, or even an early reissue. So this was a no-brainer to pick this up. This is a Beggar's Banquet reissue, and I'm very happy with the sound quality of it. So Tubeway Army, if you're not familiar, this is Gary Newman's first band, I guess. It's really amazing. Call it post-punk or punk. Actually, it rocks. Like, it's less on the electronic side. If you're a fan of the more electronic and new wavy Gary Newman, I would still steer you to this. This one is still very excellent, but I think all eras of Gary Newman are excellent. So I recommend this. It's a quality reissue. Wow, I still have a lot left. Eeks. So this is the Gits Seafish Louisville, and I about died when I saw this at 402 Vinyl, which is a local store. I about keeled over this. It's so hard to find any Gits out in the wild. Anyway, you've also heard me talk enough about the Gits for like a lifetime. So the Gits, if you're new to them, they were an early 90s punk band that emerged kind of in the grunge era. So they had established their base in Seattle, but Mia Zapata, the singer, she just sang with so much soul and passion. Look up their story. This is a brilliant compilation. I paid half of what it's actually worth, so I got a killer deal. So this is basically a collection of live tracks and outtakes. Check out the opening song, Whirlwind. It's a scorcher. It is so powerful. And I only had this on CD before. I think it's still pretty hard to get on CD as well. So yeah, just stunned, stunned to have that. And it's on Broken Records, that label. Let me actually show a few CDs. This is one from The Sound I was missing, and I bought this used on eBay, I believe. But I featured The Sound in several videos before. Check out my post-punk series for more details. And I would consider The Sound to be in my top 3 favorite post-punk bands, most likely. So yeah, this third studio album released in 1982. Very hard to track down on vinyl and pricey, so I went with this. Maybe not the one to start with if you're new to the band. I mean, it's good. It's still engaging, but I would suggest their 2 prior albums before this one. But try the song Party of the Mind. Love that one. Monument is also very good. So this is an underrated album from this band. Glad to have it now. The next CD before we move on, I picked up this cherry red reissue of Modern Eon, and this is Fiction Tales. I actually have my viewers to thank for mentioning this album to me a while back, so thank you. I get a lot of top-notch recommendations from you. So this is a 2 CD reissue. There are some complaints about the mastering of this reissue. I mean, I don't have an original to compare it with, so I think it's fine. This is a really overlooked album from that post-punk era. Originally released in 1981. If you dig post-punk like Chameleons, Comsat Angels, The Cure, The Sound, who I just talked about, look into this one. I love High Noon and Euthenics. You get a booklet kind of in the middle there. And then the second disc, you get some like alternate versions. I don't know if that will come through, but Modern Eon. Alright, I can't believe I got this one for less than $20 on Discogs. I thought it was going for a lot more, but I got it for, I think, $17, and that includes shipping from overseas. This is actually really due for a vinyl reissue. This is one of my favorite records of all time, and I've had the CD for the longest time, so the CD is slightly different. I'm just a super fan of Chris Stamey and Peter Holzapfel. In fact, I have a DB's record on my wall. That was their first band, the DB's. So just one of my favorite power pop outfits of all time. There is exceptional songwriting on this, plenty of hooks. It's folkier. I love their cover of Gene Clark and the Byrds, Here Without You. That's one of my favorite covers of that song that I've heard. It's just a beautiful record, and I'm so happy to own this European press. It's on special delivery. Yeah, this was originally released in 1991, by the way. Alright, Buzzcocks. We've got Love Bites. So this certainly is not my favorite album by Buzzcocks, but I still needed it in the collection. And I'm just trying to round out my collection, you know, so A Different Kind of Tension is my favorite studio album by them, by far. But this is a 1987 UK reissue on Fame. The biggest single on this is Ever Fallen in Love. The first half is definitely the stronger half, in my opinion, but it's Buzzcocks, UK punk greats. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but it's nice to add that on vinyl to my collection. Recently, I bought a bunch of records from Kurt. He's a viewer. He sells records on Discogs, and I bought this from him, from his Discogs page, and this is The Fall, The Friends Experiment. So this was like a radio station copy because you can see the writing on it. Some consider this just an average fall record, and yeah, it's maybe not one of their best, but I really like it. And maybe some fall fans don't appreciate it because it is more polished. I love the rhythms on this record though. The drumming is just excellent. So, and I just love their cover of Victoria by the Kinks on here. I'm sure you guys have heard that, but it's on Beggar's Banquet. Also, Hit the North is on here. You gotta love that song. So yeah, originally released in 1988, and I'm always trying to add more fall into the collection. Also from Kurt, I was able to buy a few more records from this post-punk band called And Also the Trees. So this is their debut. This is a reissue on Graveface Records from a few years ago. Just beautiful packaging. It's a 2 LP reissue. So that's actually their debut. And then I bought the Mill Pond Years, and this is an original copy, if I remember correctly. This is very intense and dark post-punk. What else do we have? Oh, I've been buying a ton of Cocteau Twins original pressings. Like, that's been probably my primary focus because I am super obsessed with them. I've decided to do a Cocteau Twins ranking really soon, and I'm actually bumping that up ahead of my Susie and the Banshees ranking. I hope you guys are okay with that, but I've just been listening to them nonstop. So I'm just going to show you what I picked up and not really spend too much time because I will be talking about them in a ranking. But yep, this is an original UK press of Love's Easy Tears. And yep, these are on 4AD. So that's a beautiful EP. I got an original UK press of Treasure, probably their most well-known album. 4AD, original UK. Sunburst and Snowblind. I love the song Hitherto on here. Head Over Heels, which came out before Treasure. Again, original UK press. We have the Spangle Maker, and this is the one with the embossed cover. I love just the colors and the design and everything on this. Purple is my favorite color. Their EPs are just as important as their studio albums in my opinion. And again, I will talk more about Cocteau Twins later on. So lastly, this is an epic EP from My Bloody Valentine, and I finally got a UK original press of Tremolo, the Tremolo EP. So if you've been hanging around my channel for a while, then you know I just dig the heck out of My Bloody Valentine. They are top tier shoegaze for me, #1. No one else even comes close. Just incredible innovators for the genre. So this EP is just beyond outstanding, and I got this for a great price from one of my favorite online vendors. This is just a super high grail to have on vinyl. I mean, it sounds out of this world on vinyl. Masterpiece EP. Honey Power is probably my favorite My Bloody Valentine song. Moon Song, the title fits just the vibe of the song. It's very dreamy. Swallow, great song. So yeah, it's an original UK press, and that is amazing to own. Anyway, that's all I'm going to show in this video. I thought it would be fun to just focus on the Grails that I now own and have added into my collection. I have other records I've picked up, but we're going to save those for another time. We're going to close out here for today. I want to thank you for being so patient for another video. I know it's been a while, but let me know if you've enjoyed seeing any of these records or CDs, and have you picked up any Grail records recently? Thanks for hanging out in the record room, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.